Hi, this is Professor Favor. So I wanted to take some time to go over the Mount Holyoke piece. And so remember, your paper is about single sex colleges and whether or not you believe that they are obsolete. And do make sure to remember the prompt question: are single sex colleges obsolete, or do they still provide an important alternative to coeducational institutions or coeducational colleges? So when you look at Mount Holyoke is a single sex college. There have been maybe recent policy changes allowing for transgender student applications. So when you are thinking about the transgender question, does that affect um, your perception of whether or not single sex colleges are obsolete? Because the single sex colleges, many of them have changed or added to their current admissions policy, admitting trans women. So that means a person who was born male but identifies as a female is eligible to apply for admissions consideration. However, if the applicant or potential applicant was born female but identifies as a male, then that person would not be eligible for admissions consideration. So that is an interesting thing to think about, because when you are thinking about your yes answer or your no answer, yes, single sex colleges are obsolete. They no longer provide an important alternative to co-ed educational colleges, or no, single sex colleges are not obsolete. They still provide an important alternative to co ed colleges. What does it mean when you see a transgender student who was born initially male walking on the campus as and identifying as a female? So that's something that you want to think about, because when you look at this Mount Holyoke piece, this is a this is a single sex college that still considers themselves as a single sex college and is still registered as a single sex college. So there's this idea that, well, if you are admitting students or considering for admission students who were initially born male biologically, are you still considered a single sex college? Um, However, if the person identifies as female, then that person will come up under the policy change. So when you're thinking about this, think about that in terms of your answer and how you will integrate Mount Holyoke into your piece. So for this, I don't think I'm going to be here this long. I just want to go over a few things with Mount Holyoke. So we have this question here in the same way that we had the question from the Brian Burton Harvard Political Review piece, the end of the women's college. Well, we have here, why a women's college. And so this particular website is now going to answer in 4 ways why you should pursue a women's college. And so you have 4 key reasons in this potential, and let's kind of go over them. So at Mount Holyoke, we blaze our own trails. That's one of the reasons. So, as one of the first women's colleges in the country, it's been a part of our character from the beginning, and it continues to the present day with our groundbreaking support of gender diversity. So, this is a new policy in admissions and numerous other firsts. It is because we see the world through a different lens that we know a better way is possible. And together, we have the skills, knowledge, and community to make it a reality. Making a choice like Mount Holyoke isn't typical. It's better, and we think you'll agree. So here are a few reasons why. Blazing our trails is still considered a reason, because they were a pioneer in certain aspects of. They were the first to offer a curriculum for math and science for women, whereas those two those two disciplines were only specific to men and accessible to men. So we have a reason here: academics, and it's rigorous, relevant, spirited, inspiring. The learning landscape at Mount Holyoke is shaped as much by curiosity and intensity as it is by collaboration and guidance. Your guides, our faculty, who were named number one in the nation per the 2020 Princeton Review, which is based upon student surveys. That makes a big difference. But you'll also learn from your peers, from internships, and from study abroad opportunities that will take you all over the world. And everywhere you look, you'll find people with who brim with passion, from classes on renewable energy and critical race theory in education to wearable circuit workshops at the Fimble Maker and Innovation Lab, who seek the whys and hows of human behavior and who forge multidisciplinary connections and relationships quicker than you can say intersectionality. So these are different. I started teaching Mount Holyoke or protest obsolete somewhere I think in 2017, maybe a little earlier. And so they have changed this website. It looks like it's a lot more functional. But these labs, all of this is very new. The reference to gender diversity is also very new. So the academics is one reason why you should choose Mount Holyoke. And you would have to go into more detail by clicking the academics tab here, and it'll give you more information about your particular program, how to enhance your learning, international, after what you can expect after Mount Holyoke, any support, mentorship, research, degrees. So you could just click here and find information about that. Okay. So here's another reason: leadership. So at Mount Holyoke, the first of the powerful seven sisters colleges, so these are your single sex colleges, social activism and leadership is in our DNA. The world needs our graduates who share the conviction and readiness to make their lives stand for something bigger, now more than ever. Whatever cause you're passionate about, there's a way to begin or continue. Your leadership journey begins at Mount Holyoke. So this Weissman Center here is also a new addition from the time I used to teach this. So the Weissman Center for Leadership offers resources for developing the skills and strategies of an effective leader. And student leaders put these skills into practice every day. So if you are a woman interested in becoming a leader in your field, this is the school that's going to help you to prepare. That's why they're asking, that's why they pose that question, why a women's college? So from advocating for underrepresented communities to planning hackathons, organizing model UN conferences, and publishing award winning campus newspapers, there's plenty of opportunity to grow into the leader you've always wanted to become. Remember that word advocates from the Brian Burton piece, Harvard Political Review. So this is Mount Holyoke is an advocate of the single sex college, and anyone who supports Mount Holyoke in terms of donor dollars, grant money, anything like that, are also advocates and proponents of the single sex college environment. So then we have community. And here you're taken seriously from day one. Mount Holyoke is a place where you're surrounded by peers and mentors who see you and value you, where people are on and by your side as you make uh, memories that will last for life, people who push you to aim high, take risks, ask questions, make mistakes, and break restraints, knowing that such actions can support momentous and meaningful change. This is a very important sentence to consider because you do want to be a difference and you want to reflect the difference. And what they are suggesting here, Mount Holyoke is suggesting here, that we will help you to become that difference, where we will help you to aim high, take risks, ask questions, make mistakes, break restraints. So anything that is holding you back will help you to move forward. So Mount Holyoke's expansive commitment to access and inclusion is reflected in our student body and admissions policy. We welcome a gender diverse population with students from across the country and all around the world. Most importantly, we recognize all identities as multidimensional intersectional, and we explore that fact in class, in community, and cultural centers, and in our residence halls. So they are essentially calling gender diversity and connecting it to the word fact. And it is further defined as multidimensional, intersectional, um, and part of the cultural landscape um, on their campus as well as in their residence halls. This is the first time, or at least that I'm teaching it now, that they are using the word inclusion. Whereas when they created the single sex college environment, inclusion wasn't necessarily a word that they needed to use because it was all one sex. So now that now that the campus is recognizing gender diversity, inclusion now becomes the word that is connected to that phrase. Okay. And then after Mount Holyoke, though women's college graduates make up 2% of the college graduate population, they are more than twice as likely as graduates of coeducational colleges to receive doctoral degrees. So pay attention to this sentence because remember the numbers in the Brian Burton piece that the colleges started at 200 and then by a certain 50 years later it went down to 60. And so that suggests that single sex colleges were not obsolete at a certain period, and then they became obsolete as they later went coeducational. So this first sentence here, though women's college graduates make up 2% of the college graduate population, that's a very low number if single sex college environment is supposed to produce leadership and produce different types of people who take risk and make change. That should be higher. That should be in the double digits. So we see here that it is implicit that single sex colleges are obsolete if we have this low of a number. Maybe if it was double digit, maybe 12% or 20%, we could argue that okay, it's still high, but 2% is a very low number. So anything before the comma suggests that single sex colleges are obsolete. Anything after the comma, they are more than twice as likely as graduates of co-educational colleges to receive doctoral degrees, suggests that single sex colleges are not obsolete, meaning that maybe in particular fields or disciplines that Mount Holyoke helps to serve that part of the educational mission to produce individuals with doctoral degrees. For proof, look no further than our network of more than 38,000 alums. From the first woman in a presidential cabinet to the first woman of color to win an Oscar for Best Director, their experience at Mount Holyoke shaped who they are and how they lead. However, our alums make an impact. They're acutely aware of the shoulders they stood on to achieve success and then are ready to do the same for the next generation. That's the reason the Princeton Review named us number 10 for best alumni networks in 2021. Now the alumni network is a very high number. So they are suggesting thus that single sex colleges are not obsolete in terms of this environment, but it does make a big difference that this number is low here. However, they are making the point that you have people of great repute who have graduated from this college, right? So this is something that should be considered. So again, this is Mount Holyoke. And you can find more information about Mount Holyoke. Let me see if I can get access to the transgender policy. If I type in transgender, could I get something? Okay, so then there is inclusive admission, and we have transgender inclusion policies. We have trans lives at Mount Holyoke, inclusive admission. So I'm just going to use click on that. This is Lions. So this is looks like this is about sports. And so there is a transgender policy. I was looking for the admissions part of it. So let me see if I can get out of this and see inclusive admission. So again, they are using specific type of terminology to make sure that gender diversity is respected. So we have something here at Mount Holyoke. We are ourselves together. As a women's college that is gender diverse, we welcome applications from female, transgender, and non-binary students. During the admission process, we seek students who are deeply curious because both the pursuit of big ideas and a passion for taking bold actions that make the world a better place energize everything our students do. So we do have a global community. We have references to LGBTQIA. We have pictures of people who might fall under the inclusion practices. And there was, when I initially researched this, I saw a lot more information. So maybe that information is housed in a different area. But I did see something. Hold on for a minute. So, chosen name policy. Let me see what this looks like. And so, we have a date that this was revised. So, Mount Holyoke is a women's college that is gender diverse. We seek to support individuals across a gender diversity spectrum. We affirm every individual's right to be represented by the name they choose for themselves. So, this is an extension of the inclusion policy. So, Mount Holyoke College supports the need for individuals to choose a name that accurately reflects their identity. This policy provides specific support for transgender or non binary individuals, any individuals who choose to regularly use a name that is different from their legal name, and those whose professional name is different from their legal name. The chosen name will be used for college purposes as broadly as possible on campus. So there are some definitions in terms of what a legal name is, what a chosen name is, what a nickname is. Also, there's a pronoun policy. So, Mount Holyoke upholds that personal pronouns are essential in affirming the diversity and fluidity of gender identities. Pronouns are neither preferred nor optional. We strive to ensure that every member of our campus community is addressed in a way that acknowledges and respects the fullness of their gender identity. We encourage all students, faculty, and staff to communicate their pronouns to others through spoken communication when meeting or greeting someone in person or virtually, or in writing, such as email signatures, business cards, resumes, or name tags. So they are putting the burden respectfully on the person who is identifying as trans, um, to make it known that you are using certain pronouns. So that means so the fact that there is a policy on this suggests that you can't blame the campus for using a pronoun that you appear to be in terms of a he or a she if you did not first uh, make it known, right? We encourage all. It's not necessarily a requirement, but if you don't want to be offended in some cases, make sure to make it known to people. So that means your legal names may appear on documents or in office systems that rely on legal and medical records, but your chosen name can be in campus directories, Gmail, G Suite, Moodle site, the Mount Holyoke, One Card Pathways, and then how to change first name to a chosen name on campus. So it gives you a way to do that. So they have a full policy on making sure that inclusion is applied um, in different ways. So again, this is the Mount Holyoke site uh, website. It is a required source for your paper. Remember that Mount Holyoke would be a no answer, meaning that no, single sex colleges are not obsolete. They still provide an important alternative to co-educational colleges. So this is Mount Holyoke.